Welcome back to my channel. It's your friendly marine biologist, and today we're filming a Q&A on sea otters. So you guys asked some questions in the comments of my last video, and today I will be responding to them. Let's jump straight into the video. Our very first question comes from Zoe, and she asks, what is a sea otter? So, the otter is a member of the weasel family, and they can be found on every continent except for Australia and Antarctica. There are 13 different species of otter in total, and they can naturally be found in wet environments such as freshwater rivers, lakes and wetlands. One of the species, however, the sea otter, can be found living blissfully in the North Pacific Ocean. Today we will delve into the lives of sea otters. They are a social species, so they tend to live in groups called rafts. When they're not swimming or hunting seafood for their carnivorous diet, sea otters can be found sleeping on the surface of the ocean wrapped in giant kelp that prevents them from sinking or floating away. Sea otters can reach a maximum weight of 45 kilograms and a maximum length of 1.5 meters, but many of them are the small, cute, cuddly creatures that we all know and love. Our second question comes from Damon, and he asks, can sea otters be kept as pets? Now this is a really interesting one, and it comes down to whether or not sea otters can be domesticated or not. So according to Edward Price, domestication is the process by which captive animals can adapt to man in the environment he provides, where the phenotype of the adapted animal differs significantly from the phenotype of its wild counterparts. This change, however, must occur over many generations of reproduction, and it can't occur overnight. Despite being affectionate by nature with generally a good temperament, sea otters are naturally wild animals. In order to become domesticated, wild animals need to be able to reproduce successfully in their new environments. A 1999 study found that only 8 out of 50 sea otters held in captivity were able to reproduce successfully. The rest failed. The implication here is that sea otters are not genetically suited to be domesticated by humans and thrive far better in their natural environments. However, this does not mean that humans haven't tried to keep otters as pets before. Now, while there are protection acts that prevent the sale, trade and ownership of sea otters in countries such as United States, UK and Australia, there are loopholes in some Asian countries such as Japan, Thailand or Indonesia, where owning 4 species of otter that are native to Asia can be permissible. Doing so poses ethical implications, however, as without the perfect diet, habitat and social rearing, restricting otters to the human household can be both traumatizing and detrimental. Our next question comes from Sophie, and she asks, how have humans impacted the lives of sea otters? Now, historically, sea otters were hunted to near extinction in the 18th and 19th centuries for their fur. It was considered luxurious to own at the time. The idea that humans could choose to almost eradicate an entire species based on superficial status may seem ludicrous now, but legal systems of that time were built off the ideology that animals were property to be exploited by humans. It wasn't until later in the 19th century that federal animal welfare laws were enacted in the US, and even then, the Marine Mammal Protection Act didn't come about until as late as 1972. Sea otter conservation is now far more relevant than it has been in the past, and attitudes are changing. For the most part, we no longer obsess over otter fur, rather stress the importance of keeping otters from going extinct. Although sea otters have gained a number of protections through the acts as mentioned earlier, their lives are still impacted by humans to this day. Human waste that's flushed into wetlands can be toxic to the otter. Waste ingested can cause starvation, entanglement can be a choking hazard, and waste has the ability to cause habitat destruction. Oil spills are also a concerning threat to the sea otter population. With the ability to destroy the insulating properties of their fur layer, oil spills could cause hypothermia, a condition that they likely won't recover from. While the otter population has replenished healthily since the hunting of the 18th and 19th centuries, population levels are a far ways away from where they were historically. This truly signifies how human interference has the power to threaten their welfare in so many different ways, both indirectly and directly. Our final question comes from Mariah, and she asks, do sea otters ever pose a risk to humans? Now this might seem like a little bit of a silly question, but there have been instances where they do. Now, as mentioned earlier, sea otters are generally friendly by nature, but if provoked, they can turn aggressive. It is extremely rare that this happens, so generally speaking, we can coexist without them ever posing a major risk to us. If we, however, disrupt their feeding, approach their young, or pose a threat to their habitat, they may use their strong jaws or sharp nails to protect themselves. Bites and scratches may spread zoonotic diseases, being infectious diseases transmitted from animals to humans, and humans may become seriously ill from the bacteria spread in this way. Should the otter be infected with rabies, there is every possibility that the human could contract this too. Now in Australia, we don't have otters and we don't have rabies, so this doesn't pose a major risk to us. However, it may be internationally. Thankfully, rabies transmission has not been documented in sea otters, rather river otters instead. So that wraps up our Q&A. Thank you so much for all of your questions. I will be reading all of the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tune in next week for another video. We may be meeting some of the dolphins at SeaWorld, so don't forget to tune in for that one. Bye!